Today I'm joined by David Rounds, founder of NetEffect. David, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Scott. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So, Dave, I want to talk a little bit about email and specifically email security. Tell me what's going on. What are the challenges facing folks who are obviously using email?
Well, the challenges are evolving significantly. So I remember the days where it was everyone was worried about an individual Word document or some other attachment coming through. If you clicked on, you had malware and or a virus installed. They didn't even call it malware back then. Nowadays, it's much more sophisticated. Uh, you have things called spear phishing, and you have phishing attempts, or spear phishing and phishing, and also all those other things. And that presents some problems because the normal email security platform out there that's built into most email systems or hosted email systems that's just built in isn't sufficient enough to handle today's advanced threats. So it leaves your company open and vulnerable to security threats.
So, what kind of threats are we talking about here?
Well, the big one is they're actually taking over mailboxes now. So they'll
Hmm.
take over a end user's mailbox through usually it is initiated originally by a spear phishing attempt or a phishing attempt. And once that happens, they get their credentials to the mailbox and then they start actually emailing out as that user to all of the emails inside their inbox. So in the old days, it used to be they get your contact list and send out stuff to all your contacts. Now they're actually acting as you and replying to the emails that you already have in your mailbox
Wow.
and replying back to your vendors and to your customers, to your outside resources. And they're trying to use your mailbox in order to get access to their mailboxes. And other things like them being able to respond in your voice means that they're sending lists and attachments like wiring instructions to them, and your vendor or your customer has no idea it's not you. In the past, these things get through all the traditional email security stuff because it's not that it's coming from somewhere else, it's actually coming from your email system
Okay.
in your
So, what
mailbox.
what are people trying to do to solve this, but it's just not getting the job done?
Well, a lot of the other of the hosted email systems and even the built-in email systems that you have, if you're running Exchange or something like that for Microsoft, they have some basic email security on there, and they may even have some advanced platforms that you can do as an add-on. We haven't found those to be sufficient so far. Some vendors may be mad I said that, but we've really looked for some other resources out there and other vendors out there to provide high-level advanced security solutions. And the solution that we use uses not only advanced threat protection, but uses artificial intelligence on top of that to really scan through these emails, look for malicious links, pretend like it's you as the artificial intelligence piece, and actually click on these links and then decide whether or not that's malicious. And that just adds a whole nother level of protection on there that most platforms don't have.
Okay. So, now is this solution that you're referring to, is this a hardware solution or a software, or how does it work?
It depends on how you're running your email system now, whether it's hosted. So for Office 365, it's really simple. It's another SaaS or software as a service cloud-based solution, and it's something you configure on the front end, and you make some changes on it and do some training on it, and make sure your end users are prepared how to use it, and then it fits right on top of it, and it's fairly seamless.
Okay, now besides having that software added, I'm assuming that you have to do something to keep your employees up to date on how they should be behaving as well.
Yeah, that's really a great point because if you remember back to September 11th, for example, the government spent a whole bunch of money educating the public on say something, or see something, say something.
Right, right.
And they spent a whole bunch of PSAs on what to look for. Well, it boils down to end user security awareness, and the training of your end users in your corporation or in your business is extremely important. In fact, the statistics out there say about 95% of all breaches into small business networks and large business networks are actually initiated by their end users, and it's coming through things like email. So, having a good program in place for end user security awareness, doing some training on it, monitoring them that they're actually getting some training on there, and of course, also securing your systems are all very important. I don't think you could really effectively deploy a security posture for your network unless you have all of them together.
So basically, we've got a software solution and a training solution, and that's basically what you're suggesting people use.
Absolutely. For the email piece of it alone, it's the software solution for the email. On top of that, for overall security in the network, it's user security awareness training, and of course, having the regular security layers you would have in there for your network, including endpoint protection, patching, firewall, stuff like that. It's security is always good in every aspect of every business, whether it's physical or software based or computer based. It's always a multi-layered approach. You always have multiple layers to get through, and if you don't have all of them in place, then your business is at some level of risk. The more you have in place, the less risk you have. Now, let's be realistic. As you put more stuff in place, there's more cost involved. So the business
Yep.
owner always has a choice to make of cost versus benefit versus risk. And that's what we try to do as a company, is really educate them on there so that they're aware of what the risks are, what the costs are, what the benefits are, and then they can make a real good business decision on what's best for their business.
Very good. David, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.